Hey guys, welcome back to TomGirl. We have a very special guest for you this week. We have Seattle Mariners catcher Mike Marjama. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh yeah.
I love this song.
And we got the lights. I'm pumped up. Are you pumped up?
Ooh, it feels like a Friday to me.
Hey guys, welcome to TomGirl. I'm your host JJ Jurgens, and I'm joined here by my co-host tonight.
Hi, I'm Hanna Bee. You can find me on all social media platforms at Hanna Bee Tucker.
And we have our very special guest, Mike, for you tonight. Mike, where can everybody follow you at?
You can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram. Instagram is mike.marjama, and then on Twitter it's mmarjama. You can find me on both of those. I'm on Snapchat too and all those other things. So you can find me and try to post some good stuff and have you guys just keep you up with the adventures.
Yeah, well, you are very good at that, and you have such a great story to tell, so I just want to dive right into it because I just want you to do the majority of the talking.
Oh, for
here.
sure. Yeah, sorry, I need a sec. I was feeling my walk out there. I was like,
Yeah.
you guys are like, I love it. And I was
Yeah,
like, that's the
it
point. Is like
We
we
had to
want,
milk that.
yeah, we want the fans to be able to just kind of enjoy it, right? Like you come
Yeah.
at the plate and they're like, oh man, I'm really liking this guy. You know, it just adds
They
to
can
it. So.
relate to you in that sense.
How and we hear that you may be thinking about a different one for next season.
Hey, I'm willing to take suggestions from anybody. If there's anybody out there that's got
okay.
suggestions for walkout songs, shoot them my way. Get on social media and shoot them my way. Like I said, I'm more than happy. Someone said, was it Carl Carlton, she's a bad mamma jamma?
Uh-huh.
You know, and I was like, oh, that might be a kind of a fun one to play around with. You know,
You
play into it
should.
a little bit. So.
Is
yeah.
there anybody on your team who you're like, oh man, they already got that one. Like,
That
I love that one.
That
I
happens
bet.
a lot, right? Because then you're
Yeah.
like, you're playing another team, and you're like, I can't steal his, right? You know, and you're like, I
think
can't
about
take
that.
his, because then it, you know, or like you're choosing between two, and then one other guy has it on another team, and you're like, huh. The worst case scenario is when you choose one, and you're choosing between two, and you choose one, and then another guy has it when you go on the road, and you're like, I should have chose the other one.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Is it like dibs? You guys call dibs, and like, is it like a whole competition kind of thing?
Yeah,
back and
you know,
forth?
so like, you know, it's different. Like, you know, Robinson Cano. So Robbie's agent is Jay-Z. So he's a Jay-Z, but Jay-Z is walking. Like, that's really cool, right? So it's like, I don't know. I gotta think of a
Yeah.
kind of one to come out with.
Anyone
Sorry,
that you
Greg.
guys just kind of make fun of somebody for that like is like, oh, they have, you know.
Yeah,
you know,
like someone was like Miley Cyrus
Right.
part in the USA or something, you know, and it was like, but
Has
see,
that happened?
yeah, see, but for me, that wasn't like rookie ball. Someone had that,
Oh
but I
my
think
God.
one of the best ones was it the Sweet Escape? Was it Gwen Stefani was the one that had
Oh.
it? Was it like wee
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
right, that one? But everyone, and I was like, that's so weird. But everyone in the stands was going wee, and I was like, oh my
funny.
gosh, this one works. It was perfect.
Yeah, so you got to keep that in mind too. What the fans are gonna like get pumped up to, of like
That's
really.
Absolutely. Well, you know, we can do it as athletes, right? We want to be the best athlete we can be. We all want to be the LeBron James, the Michael Jordan, right? We want to be these elite athletes. Perspectively wise, sometimes it's not always going to happen, but who are we without our fans, right? So, you know, our fans are what kind of keep us on the field. It's what allows us to kind of have our job. So, you know, being able to connect with fans, that's part of the reason why we do what we do. And a walk-up song, I think, is part of that. Yeah, it's for you, but it's also, you know, hopefully the fans can get some enjoyment out of it. So,
Yeah. Oh, great.
Definitely.
Well, let's go back to kind of your early days
For sure.
of sports. Let's start there. So let's talk about your high school days. So you did baseball, but also wrestling and other sports as well.
yeah, it started in junior high. I tried out for the basketball team my 7th and 8th grade year. I played Little League all growing up, and then like 7th and 8th grade year, I got cut from the basketball team. I think I was dribbling with my head down or something like that. apparently that doesn't work. So, yeah, my goal of being in the next Michael Jordan kind of got cut short. So I ended up staying with baseball, and then one of my buddies was like, hey, you should try wrestling. So they needed some guys, and ended up getting into wrestling and tried that out. So I had a lot of fun doing it. Kind of took me down some dark roads, but you know, I really enjoyed my time doing it, and you know, all throughout high school, I ended up playing baseball. So.
So to talk about that dark road for a little bit here,
Yeah.
'cause this is something that you're really trying to bring attention to right now is eating disorders and a lot with men, because a lot of people do associate eating disorders more with women and like fashion industry. I know you dealt
Right.
with it and things like that. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about your story? And
Oh,
how-
absolutely. So it started. A lot of it was just out of misinformation, I believe, and kind of just, you know, media presence. It started when I was in junior high school. I really struggled with, you know, I think maybe Hannah relates this a little bit. Like Abercrombie had their bags coming out, and all the guys had their shirts off, but they were guys that realistically weren't what you could expect from yourself. I guess at the time when I was in 7th grade, right? And all the girls were, puberty's kind of kicking in for girls just faster than guys. That's just how it works. And, I was late in that, and so you saw girls kind of fantasizing about these guys on these Abercrombie bags, and then this girl dated me for like 20 minutes because she felt bad for me, right? And at the time, now it's like, oh, whatever, but at the time I remember thinking, and now working in substitute teaching in junior high schools and high schools, you see how much it affects kids. Just a little thing, maybe a breakup, or someone looks at them wrong and they're like, their whole day is just devastated by it, and it's like, oh my gosh, they really affected them. So little things like that kind of affected me. And then I had some body image issues. I don't like to think of it so much as an eating disorder. I like to think of it more as just a body image issue. A lot of people, whether it be, we can talk about steroids in men, or you can talk about, eating disorder with men or with women. So those areas are something that I started digging into. And once I got into wrestling, I learned how to cut weight really good. So it just made me a perfectionist. At heart, I'm a perfectionist, but being able to have those tools to now act on those feelings were kind of taking me down those dark paths.
And then it also caused you, so you missed out on your junior year, which is big for recruiting and big time in high school.
Yeah, so I didn't play my junior year. I was seeing a counselor at the time. My parents would kind of know what's going on, and I think what really triggered it all was my mom made a big Thanksgiving dinner, and I put like 3 carrots on my plate and like 3 almonds on my plate, and my mom like looked at it and was like, oh, okay, like this is not right. So she had me seeing a counselor. I lost like 14 pounds in a week. And so they put me on a stretcher right there and wheeled me out, and then took me to the emergency room and went to an inpatient facility. And I was there with, kids that have overdosed or, tried to commit suicide. Just, they weren't safe, they harmed themselves or others. I was there for about 4 or 5 days, and then I was basically let out or whatever. And then I started an outpatient program. And so during that time in the outpatient program, I went for about 6 months, 3 days a week, and I wasn't allowed to play baseball. So I missed out on my full junior year. Oh. I never know if I was even going to play again, to be honest. So yeah, it was a rough time.
Yeah. So to bounce back from that, though, so then you did go and play. You got past that time, and then you went to college and you played. And so talk about how maybe that moment, how things switched for you and how you turned it around to like then fully go after your goals.
Yeah, I like to think of it a lot about like the recovery side of it is not so much in an eating disorder perspective. I don't like to think of it as like a physical disorder. I like to think of it more as a mental, as like, even someone that has maybe post-traumatic stress. That person is so, I've even heard people explain it to where they just feel locked out. They feel like they're in a gloom. They're just, they're tired. They just grab a 6-pack of beer and go hide in a closet, and they just want to get away from everybody and seclude themselves because they don't want to be judged and they don't know how to handle it. And that's how I felt the eating disorder. And any mental thing is like, I know what I'm doing is wrong, but I'm also a perfectionist and I know what I'm doing, so I'm going to do it better. And so then I just get away from everybody. And so for me, getting back into baseball was great because it allowed me to be around people that supported me. And then as I started to learn, in my senior year, I had a great year. I think I hit like 430, but I didn't get any, I didn't get any recruit. I was just a small kid. I hadn't even hit puberty by my senior year of high school. I just started to. I definitely delayed it with my eating disorder. So it was tough. It was a tough time. And then when I got into college, the coping skills I had used from managing my eating disorders had started helping me on the field as well. Maybe being in the present moment. You can't, the past has already happened. The future, you can't control it. So how can we take care of the present moment right now? And so those things started slowing things down for me, and it not only helped me get over my eating disorder, but also helped me on the field. And then, it's turned out to be a blessing. So I went down some dark roads, but I like to think of it as a great learning experience for myself, and I've gotten a lot of hope out of the things I've learned from it.
And then you get that call that you get drafted. So talk about that moment and how big of...
Honestly,
yeah.
I was pissed. I was pissed.
Would it go sooner?
I thought I was going to go sooner, and then I had left my house. I had actually left. I was watching the tracker go down. I was like, you know what, like I just left the house. And I remember my parents called and was like, oh, you're just taken by the White Sox. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So I didn't sign right away. I went and played in the Cape Cod League, which is like the premier collegiate league. So I went and played for the Orleans Firebirds, and then after about a month or so out there, I ended up signing out of the Cape Cod League and reported to good old Bristol, Tennessee, Virginia, around the board on where the NASCAR race is. So that was my first assignment, and I guess that's when my pro ball journey started.
And Yeah, no, I also saw, so you hit your first big league home run in October, is that right?
Yep, October 1st.
What was that experience like?
Oh gosh, it's pretty surreal, right? Because you think about it in your mind, you're like, oh my gosh, like I wonder if I will ever be able to play in the big leagues, right? And then, or even play pro ball. And then, can I even play in the big leagues? And then you get to big leagues, and like, I hit a home run. And I think what made it even more surreal was that my family was able to be there. So I have a lot of family. It's in like Huntington Beach, down south here, and then my family was able to fly down. My parents were able to fly down for that. So it was really cool to be able to do that in front of them. A lot of family friends were there, and I remember,
super cool.
yeah, I remember one of the things was a family friend was filming my at-bats down the left field line. They got tickets down the right field line, and they were filming the at-bat, and all of a sudden the ball gets hit, and they had their whole family with them, and their son is a model down here. And he was taking the video of it on his phone, and they see it hit, and he's like, oh my gosh, and the ball goes out, and then their daughter goes, oh, bleep. and her dad's like, no, you ruined it. So it was funny, but it's like, those things are they're priceless moments that you just, it's like, for me, I don't like to think of it as myself, right? Like, is it great that it hit a home run? Absolutely. But I don't deserve it. It's like my family deserves it. My family's been there with me since I was, my family had to go through hospitalizations with me for my eating disorder. And now all of a sudden they're able to walk into a big league ballpark and see their son on the big screen and see the name. My mom gets to have a Marjama jersey. It's that to me. It's like that. That tears me up a little bit. Being able to see those things for my mom and my dad and all my grandparents, the people that have been along me the whole ride. So
they've been there for you.
Yeah. So for them to experience that moment was surreal.
And I think like what I want to talk about too is as how you keep so mentally tough, because before you hit that home run, like it said, you had 7 seasons in the minors, 480 games at 5 levels of minor league ball. Like it's a long time you waiting to have for that moment and to be up there. So how did you stay tough during that time and mentally?
That's a secret.
Yeah, it's a secret. I think just faith. I just had faith and I had hope, and I've always been the hardest worker. When I was with the White Sox, I got Dale Torberg was our strength and conditioning coach, and he used to be a WWE wrestler. He was the Demon. So every year he would pass out a weight belt, which was the big wrestling belt, and had the White Sox on it. Well, I got the hardest working player in the organization, and everywhere I've gone, I feel like I've always been the hardest worker, whether it be high school or college or what. That's always been my personality. So I always knew I could, and now that took me down some dark roads. I could have an eating disorder, but I did it better than that type of thing.
Right.
But that's just was the way my personality was. So when there have been times like this year to start the year, I was supposed to be off the roster on the Phantom deal, which means I'm healthy, but they don't have a spot for me. Well, on our first bus ride down to Gwinnett, it was like, hey, you're active now. But at that time, I had to be like, you know what? I need to slow down and just, hey, God's got a plan for you. Just breathe, like relax and take it day by day. And so what it kept reminding me is be in the present moment. I can't control where I'm at, but I can control how I go about my business. So every day I showed up at the ballpark, I was like, I'm going to be the hardest worker here. I'm going to prove that I belong. And so I like to think about it as just very proactive. Instead of thinking like, oh, woe is me, it's like, no, okay, like what can I do next that's going to get me there? And ultimately at the end of the day, as an athlete, and I think as you would know, it just kept me sharp.
Yeah, especially I'm always big on that too. So I feel like that's the one thing you can control is how hard you work and what you bring to the table like every single day. And how do you see that in other athletes? Because at that level, you have a lot of egos, or you have a lot of distractions, or the money and the fame,
Yeah, so our clubhouse is very different. So a lot of people, we don't spend a lot of time with our families, per se. We don't really get to, right? So we play, our season. Yeah, we have our off season for maybe October, November through February, where we get to do whatever we want, which is great. I get to come and do stuff like this, which is awesome. But during the season, we have maybe one day off a week, maybe not even that. Maybe once every 2 weeks. So we only get a few days off a month. So every day we're at the ballpark from 12 or from noon maybe till about 11 o'clock at night for the most part. So during that time we spend a lot of time with our guys, right? So not with our families. So they become our family, and we try to influence each other the great way. And the great teams always seem to have great camaraderie. I think it's with anything, in business, in whatever you're doing, that camaraderie that you have with each other definitely helps. So we push each other definitely harder, right? If a guy like not to try to like name drop here, like Robinson Cano is in the cage, or Felix Hernandez is pitching, or any of these big name players are doing something, I had better be out there too doing it, because there's a reason they're that good. There's a reason they're at that level. And we as a team continue to push each other that way, because, at our level, it's no longer about developing, it's about winning. And so our job is to go out there and win and compete and put up the numbers. So, whatever we can do to help each other win and be the best team we can be is really what it boils down to. So we keep each other sharp, and, if something is out of line, the veteran guys let you know, and you take care of it.
Can you talk a little bit about, you switched positions. You didn't always start out as a catcher. How was that transition for you?
Ooh, tough. I like to think of myself not as a catcher, more as a squatting infielder. So I was a third baseman. I was actually a second baseman in high school. I was really short. I mean, give you like visuals, I guess I was probably about 5'6", 5'7", 130 my junior year. Granted, the eating disorder definitely played into that. My senior year, I was about 5'11" or so, 160. I started growing, and then finally we got to college. I was like, okay, I'm 6'2", 6'3", 200. I started growing into my body, I guess. So my body just translated to third base, and then when I was at Long Beach State, just one of the days they were like, hey, you gonna try catching? I was like, sure. You could maybe do it. And so I threw on the gear, and so in pro ball, I was kind of drafted as a catcher, third baseman. My first year I played third, and then next year the White Sox threw some catcher's gear in my locker, and I've been kind of bouncing around back and forth since. So this is about my third year in a row really strictly catching. So I'm still relatively new to the position, but I can't let it show.
Yeah.
It's all about just performing now and just doing what we can. So
skill-wise, what things did you have to pick up? Because I read, like, when you were second baseman, you used to study where the batters, where they would, their percentage of where they would hit to, and you could tell other players where to move to and things. So how did that mentality switch when you were a catcher? What kind of things did you have to pick up on and learn?
Well, I'm a cerebral player. Like, I like to think of myself as I like to think I'm decently smart. So, and I try to think things through. So one of my big things now is we get huge scouting reports on every team we're playing. So we have big old lists of, hey, pitch here, pitch here. We have, a big video room we can just study hitters and all this stuff. Where are holes? What does this guy do? So for me as a catcher, you're the commander on the field, right? So every pitch, like, coaches don't call pitches, we call pitches, right? So I have to know what the pitcher likes to throw, what he wants to throw, what this hitter can't hit, why can't he hit it, is he in a slump, is he 0 for 10, he's really hitting this pitch. So there's a lot of different factors that go in, right? So that's where for me is you have to be extremely prepared. And so I like to think I overwork, but to me that just gets me prepared and forming those relationships with the pitchers to make sure I'm pitching to their strengths and allowing them to be successful. And the best time that, the best thing we can do as a catcher is almost be invisible. Like, you don't know we're there. And that's like the biggest thing. It's like, look how well that pitcher pitched. And it's like, not to take credit away from any of our pitchers, but it's it's like, that's our best thing is like, you don't even know we're there. You're just watching the pitcher do his thing and dominate. And then it's just like, at the end of the day, the pitchers know that, we definitely have helped out part of it. But, that's one of the things I love about it, and picking up how to call a game. And that's where learning from veterans is huge.
One of the articles about you, they called you the relationship guru because of your relationship with those pitchers. So, and also how you said you liked people, and so how has your kind of skills, your people skills, and what you enjoy about life, like, help you relate to being like the one that the pitchers want there for them?
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to use that at a bar a lot. And they're like, hey, I'm the relationship guru. And they're like, please, save it, buddy.
Valentine's Day is coming up.
It is. Maybe I can start my own show, The Relationship Guru, or something like that.
I see a podcast in your future.
Stop it. Will Smith has me. He's Hitch. I can't even compete with that man.
Bachelor, next Bachelor, maybe.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Oh, we'll have to save that for a different story. Oh, if you guys are watching, please don't put me on The Bachelor. No,
agent.
Oh, yeah. So, oh gosh.
Yeah, you can't
let's just pass on that one.
I'm kind of curious, like, for people who have gone through what you've been through, who need a piece of advice, like, what's the biggest piece of advice you think you could give them?
I think, like I said before, the eating disorder is a great way to describe it, because that's what I went through. But I like to think I had a lot of body image issues, and I think that's something that doesn't really get addressed. We try to define someone as, okay, this person's anorexic, just clinically. That's just how a diagnosis works. But a lot of times it all just stems from, a body image issue or, a way it is. And when that brain gets malnourished, your brain doesn't work the same way, right? So an example would be, and this will get to where I'm going to go with this, is I thought that in order to get really shredded, if I didn't eat anything and I worked out a bunch, I would work out and get big and strong. And if I didn't eat anything, I wouldn't get fat. Well, when that wasn't working, I was like, okay, I'm not doing this right. I need to eat even less and work out more. Well, when that wasn't working, I'm going to eat even less and work out more. And pretty soon I was on this downward spiral. So the biggest thing that I would say to somebody is that, look, there's help. If I wouldn't have been so stubborn and felt like I had all the answers, and I would have been more open to saying, okay, you know what, I think the way I'm thinking about myself isn't healthy. Why isn't it healthy? Okay, it's okay to have these feelings and thoughts, but how we act on those thoughts is where we kind of draw the line and say, okay, are we doing something in a positive light or are we doing it in a negative light? And so my, kind of goal for everything that I'm trying to push here is that people, when you see this happening, whether it be an eating disorder, maybe a PTSD, maybe you're just struggling with depression, is there's help. There are resources out there to help you, and all you have to do is just ask for it. And there's more than enough people. I've had so many people reach out on Twitter and Instagram saying, hey, I think I know somebody that's suffering from this. What can you do? And I was like, the most important thing is for them to want that help and just to kind of make that acknowledgement. And so that's the thing I ask those people is, hey, just please, just reach out to one of us, because, I know for me, if I had someone I could have talked to about this, that maybe was in my position, this maybe wouldn't have happened, or at least I could have learned from it sooner.
I know you're a substitute teacher as well.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome. How much do you see social media also playing an effect for the kids these days?
It's social media it's great. It's wonderful, right? Because a fan can have instant connection with me as an athlete. I love that. I want fans to be able to have access to my life, for the most part. But also we can portray certain things, and I think where a lot of media has gone is we glorify certain figures, physiques, which is natural. That's just the way our system works, right? But it's so hard to be. I'll give you a great example. On SportsCenter the other night, there was a guy that shoots a half-court shot, and he's on the not top 10 on Friday. Well, not because he shot a half-court shot, because he takes his shirt off, but he was what we would call overweight, or what mainstream. But he's out dancing, having a good time, shooting the shot, and no one goes, hey, look, there's this happy guy that just missed a half-court shot. They go, he's on not top 10, not because of his half-court shot attempt, but because he took a shirt off and he's dancing around like an idiot because they think he's overweight. What are we sending to the little kid there that's watching that? And not saying we can't be thick-skinned and any of that. I get where a lot of things come from, but what happens to that little kid that goes, wait, I kind of look like, well, now they're just ridiculing this guy. What message does that give to that kid? And so those are the things that for me are I don't know how that's good. And a lot of that gets pushed on social media. So we have instant gratification on a lot of things with social media, but it also portrays a rough image. So that's where, we've been working with a couple organizations on trying to figure out a good way to represent kind of what I want to, and hopefully, impacting lives for, healthy, active lifestyles, which is something I think we would all love to see.
Yeah, for sure. And I know on your social media, you post a lot of motivational quotes, inspirational things. I think I have a couple on here too. That would be Stephen number photo 4. Yeah, this one I pulled.
I like this one.
This one I love that
one. That's my favorite.
Yeah. And then this one, be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire.
That one's really good.
Yeah.
That one was just one thing I always love. I just did the Seattle Mariners caravan here up in Washington, and we got to go around a bunch of local elementary schools and hospitals and see kids and just see fans, right? And be on their home fields, like I would like to say, right? So everyone comes to Seattle to see us, but we have such a really broad fan base that we're able to kind of go to their home fields and be able to kind of give back to them. So it was a great opportunity to go do that, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's super cool. Just give back. And was it like a full tour? How long?
Yeah, so it was a week long. We went all over the state of Washington. So it was really cool to be, like I said, go around and just see people on their home fields and their hometowns, right? So I'd driven through a lot of those places, but I never got to stay the night, or see any of the local stuff. So that was really, really cool to be able to do that and just share. We're normal people. I'm a normal dude. You can see me on the street. I'm not like, we're just normal people. So, I want people to be able to relate to me and talk to me about things. And that's what substitute teaching does too for me.
How much more of this is this kind of your mission now, like using your platform that you have with the team and in baseball to like, give back and
oh, never
bring out
ending,
these
never ending. This is something that it won't stop, and that's my thing is like, how can we, for the rest of my life, I like to think of living a purpose-driven life. Like my purpose isn't just to play baseball. That's not my purpose in life, because in the big scheme of things, baseball lasts like this much of my life, right? It's such a small part of it. And I like to think of myself not as a baseball player. Hopefully I'm just a really cool, good dude that plays baseball, not the baseball player that did this or did that. It's like, so that's how I like to define myself. And more or less, I really hope that what this does, can impact some lives. And, working with the National Eating Disorder Association, and, I just got named their Spirit of Courage Award for the year. So, I'll be honored in New York for that. So I think it's going to be kind of a cool thing to have on. And, and so, knowing that what I'm doing right now is impacting lives and getting the recognition that these people are like, hey, you know what, like you opening up and coming out with this stuff is really helping some people. And that's, that's what it's all about. I can lock myself up and go somewhere, but, I think interdependence is huge, right? Being able to interact with people and just spread positivity, spread joy, and something that we're so driven negatively on a lot of issues is, let's bring some smiles, let's bring some fun, and I hope maybe my positive energy, and I'm like the Energizer Bunny, so I just nonstop go, but it's like, hopefully that will bring some light to some little kids and say, you know what, like they're struggling with something and go, you know what, like I see Mike, he's having a lot of fun, like what is he doing right now? And then they look on maybe social media because, they're like, man, he's doing that. Let's try that. And that's where we're trying to grow things and just give people an all access look at what I do, and not that it's really anything glamorous. It's just normal everyday life, but how can we look at it in a really cool light? And I think it's where we're going.
And I just think it's so brave, and I think it's so great that you're sharing that about your past, because it's hard for a lot of people to share and very personal, for you. But I think, just the lives that you are touching and can touch. And I think, it's great to look at people where everything is going great for them and they're the top athletes and they've always been like the top of their game all the time, But I think that the story that you have, like having to sit out that year and then not being getting recruited for college, but saying I still want this and going after it, I think that gives people a lot of light and hope, knowing that even if there's a time in your life where maybe things aren't going the way you want, you don't have to stay in that cycle.
Absolutely.
You can change it.
Absolutely. I think, it's just being proactive I think one of the big things that helped me is you have a choice, right? So like every day you wake up, you have a choice on how you feel and how you act. And for me, it's taking the switch, and, a lot of times I look in the mirror, right, and have like these really bad images of myself. And I would go, you know what, like, it's not that bad. Like, so I take Post-its and put Post-it up with like a smiley face, or say like, like, dude, you're awesome, and you put a Post-it up there, and I'd like, that was one of my coping skills that we had doing in class, but I still was like, that's actually kind of a cool idea. So, it's like throw some stuff up and be like, dude, you're the man. Like, you can do this. And it just gives you that positive, hopefully, like I said, that's what I want to spread to people. And just that love and joy and, and positivity and let people just, shine a light and let other people, shine theirs as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because that was one of the questions I meant to ask you. Are there any other coping or tools that you use or things you could share with people?
Yeah, I journal. I journal. I like to read now. I never liked to read before. Now I like to just, I think of just adding to my knowledge bank and adding to, just adding information. If I can learn something new every day, I'm like, you know what? Goodness, like, I'm going to be a lot better off. And so a lot of things I thought were just misinformation, the way that I had kind of portrayed myself or thought about myself. And the ways I did that it was, like I said, so unhealthy. So my ways of finding these healthy outlets to do it, whether it be maybe finding more active stuff to do, maybe go hiking, go kayaking, take the boat out, do something fun and interactive where I can still have this active, healthy lifestyle, but not take it to these really bizarre extremes.
Mm-hmm. What do you do as far as like nutrition and workouts when you're off season?
Yeah, so it's hard balancing the life of trying to be the elite athlete, right? Being one of the best 60, in the world at what you do is very, very tough. Plus being, having gone through an eating disorder is You know, are you restricting? Are you doing those things? So I don't battle with the eating disorder stuff anymore, but what I've tried to do is use it for my knowledge. So when I had my eating disorder, a lot of time I walk through the grocery store and go, I'm not allowed to have that. I'm not allowed to have that. I'm not allowed to have that. I can't have that. I can't have that. I'm not going down that aisle, right? You know what I mean? Like, I know what's going to happen if I go down that aisle, right? So instead it's like, okay, and I used to think of food, right? I used to, like, if you made for example, Atkins diet became a big one when I had mine, right? So the Atkins diet come out and everyone's like, no carbs, no carbs, no carbs.
Wow,
and so all of a sudden you see a hamburger and you're like, I can't have the bun, I can't have that. And you're just like, well, what the heck can I eat?
So many cans.
Yes, and there's so many cans.
Yeah, let's turn it around and then think positive. What can I have? And then build it up from
100%.
there.
And so now being an elite athlete, I'm like, okay, so I need micronutrients. So now it's like, I love berries. I love raspberries, blueberries, I love fruit. I love vegetables. So now it's like, what does my body need to perform at the highest level? Well, I need healthy fats. I need carbs. I need protein. I need all these different sources. So now I've noticed is like, I've learned that through looking for things that my body needs, I'm eating a lot more balanced, healthy meals rather than thinking, I can't have that, I can't have that, I can't have that. It'd be like, I'd open up a can of tuna and be like, well, I can't have this. And you're like, yeah, and none of us are like, yeah, great, you know, but it's like, oh, okay, I need carbs, I need this. So it's like, I love making like chicken tortilla soup at home. Like that's one of my big ones. And I'm like, I love that because it's like, it's easy to make, but it has everything I need. And I can change it up, or I can use like Costco, they sell rotisserie chicken. And it's like,
good too.
yeah, so then that's like, and they sell like the meat, they pull it apart and they sell it in the package. So I'm like, okay, I can use that for something. You know, I use that for a salad or something. So, you know, and then I just add to it. Like I really want to make an omelet. So I add different kinds of peppers because I want to hit different micronutrients. It's, like I said, it's just adding things and thinking it, like Hannah said, in a positive light, thinking of things that my body needs to perform. And when I did that, it's like, I perform better, I feel a whole heck of a lot better, and I know my brain's working in the right way.
And I know if I've been through this too. It's like just listening to your body and like, okay, I feel like I should be eating this today. Like literally, like you just kind of listen. Oh, I'm thirsty. Like I should actually be drinking water. Like those are things that people don't think about and don't do enough too. And you know, I have experienced some of that through modeling, kind of as you mentioned a little bit there. So I can relate in that sense as well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think, I mean, and what you said hit the nail on it. I mean, it's you look at things so different, like, you know, for a different lens. And sometimes we have these paradigms and we just need a little paradigm shift to say, you know what, like we look at something and it's maybe flawed. And maybe if we just change the way we can look at something, you know, whether it be in the political sense, in a lot of different senses, if we just look at something and say, you know, with a lot of sexual harassment stuff, sex, any of this stuff going on, let's take away and let's shift the light and say, how can we look at this differently and embrace it? And I think by doing that, hopefully we can bring a lot of positive change.
Yes.
Completely.
I agree, and I think people are ready for that. I think we've kind of, as a nation, all
so.
been through a lot of this negativity. I think a lot of people
Absolutely.
are looking for that and ready.
Absolutely. So hopefully we can be just, you know, like I said, maybe do I change everything? No, but like I'm not looking to do that. But hopefully, you know, if I reach just one person, if one person can get help by that, then my mission's done. You know, and obviously we're trying to reach a lot more people, but you know, I just want to be a source, like I said, of light and positivity and just and encourage people.
Yeah, that's wonderful. All right, let's switch gears just a little bit
Switching
here.
gears?
Okay.
Okay.
TomGirl, we got to talk a little bit of fashion since we have the fashion
Yes.
correspondent here.
Yes.
So we're going to do break down the SAG Awards. You have
Okay, I'm
some
ready.
dress selections that
ready.
you liked
Yes.
from this last weekend. All right,
Yes.
I'll let you go to town.
All right. Well, I picked a couple of my top favorites from the SAG Award red carpet. So first we have Tracy Ellis Ross. She's in Ralph and Russo. So Ralph and Russo has been all over the red carpets this award season, and I'm super excited. I just love their design, so I'm really happy for them. And she's 45. She looks stunning in this. From, you know, the ruching around her waist, it's just placed so nicely. And I also love the fact that she's kind of wearing like, she's very on trend with her off the shoulder cape train is what I'm calling it. But she's kind of playing on the, you know, women empowerment, you know, what's going on with hashtag Me Too and stuff like that with this strong shoulder cape. Almost looks like there's shoulder pads in there. I don't think there is, but she's just wearing it very well. If I'm gonna be like nitpicky though, I would say that maybe the stylist should have, the hem is peeling, like where her slit is. I would say kind of fix that. But other than that, she looks so stunning. I don't know,
Alrighty.
what do you think?
Yeah, I do
You
too.
like it?
Yeah, I think she looks fantastic.
Feel free to
Go to your
pitch
next.
in, too, on
I
fashion.
know.
No, she looks good. That's what I was gonna say. I was like, wow, that's pretty good looking
yes
right
or
there.
no.
That works for me.
Awesome.
Yeah, no,
Well,
that's good.
next we have Yara Shahidi. She's wearing Ralph Lauren. This is a custom piece, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, she's giving total Diana Ross vibes," which I think she is. And she's 17. She's
Cute.
killing the red carpet. When I was 17, I was like, "What's a red carpet?" I don't know.
Let's say that smile right there.
But
is-
Yeah, gigantic.
she's
Oh,
It's
it's
gorgeous.
gorgeous, and
Yeah.
I love the juxtaposition of this outfit. She's TomGirl, little TomGirl there, and also has this huge feminine bow that's just a knockout piece. And the train, of course, you can never go wrong with the train. So I just love that piece very much. And then next we have Allison Williams. I'm dying over this. It's kind of like old Hollywood meets almost like a flapper girl, but it's not too costumey. And this is also, did I say Ralph and Russo? Yeah, so they, one thing I love about them is that they always pay so close attention to detail. So it makes it look expensive and luxurious. And her lipstick, guess how much her lipstick cost? Less than $10.
No, I was gonna say here for the future of my life, I hope it's not that expensive.
I thought you were gonna say really expensive, I was like, oh no.
I was gonna say, no, it's actually not. It's only $6. So I'm like, okay, I bought like red lipstick the other day and it was $35 from Givenchy. I'm like, what am I doing? She looks amazing and knows how to make, something that's not expensive. Next we have Juliana Rancic and Stephen Khalil. Sequins we always see on the red carpet, so I'm really excited to see this different take on it, and this is also a classy take as well, because usually it can go tacky, it can go downhill pretty fast, but this looks fantastic with the geometric patterns, and it's a little bit sheer as the dress goes down, but she has a high neckline, so that is a great contrast there, and a little peek of the shoulder. I love that little shoulder.
That one was my favorite of the day.
Yeah. You can never go in there. And then we have Uzo Aduba, and she's in Christian Siriano. At first I was like, oh, this is totally Bridesmaids. And I kept looking at it and I was like, wait, is that Crazy Eyes? I was like, no way, she looks stunning. But again, we have that on trend with the one shoulder cape, and her hair just looks fabulous, and it totally complements the one shoulder neckline there. So, and it's a great color on her as well.
And then we threw this one in as a bonus because Millie Bobby Brown, we had to give it to her because she's bringing the Converse onto the carpet.
This is like the one exception. The one exception. She can wear the Converse. It's okay.
Yep, well, no, that's the TomGirl, mixing the dress with the sporty shoes.
So
we like
cute.
it.
She's adorable.
So we're gonna segue this into talking
I
a little
love it.
baseball fashion
no,
here.
please don't.
Yes.
Oh,
so we talked a
man.
little bit before the interview. I want to bring this one back up because we had a little debate here about the baseball pants.
Oh gosh.
So
The baseball butt.
The baseball
Okay, there we
butt
go.
and the
That's more or
stirrups.
less.
Okay.
There's a whole story.
So yes, because I am a fan of the old school stirrups, and what me and your agent's wife agreed on is because they made the pants were a little tighter and it made them a little show off the butts a little bit. We're just gonna say it here because that's what we do. Because baseball butts, girls like.
I'm glad we can say that. Okay, yeah, that's more or less yes. That is true.
But now you like
That's why I've been
like
patting.
the new
That's why I've been
pants,
patting
or-
my butt for like 4 years now. But I mean, who's keeping track of that?
Do you prefer the pants where you had the stirrups, or do you like the new with the long?
So my
pants?
whole career I wore pants down with pants up with stirrups. That was college, like all my whole college career. And then when I first started playing, I was like, I had my pants up, and then I was like, I'm just going to wear my pants down. But everyone has their pants down now, so I'm like, I've started wearing my pants down. Pants up for me, I don't know, maybe make it shorter. But pants up, you got to have really good calves. And for me, if not, the pants just fall down, right? You got to have something to hold them up there. So. My calf game is, I think it's average. So
Maybe a C or B.
yeah, probably about a C. I don't know. Maybe we can rate that on the next fashion thing.
Okay.
Yeah, right, there we go.
Okay. I got that covered.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
Yeah, so but I think fashion in baseball is fun because we're trying to bring a whole new. We want maybe the bat flips and all this stuff. We want it to be fun for fans, right? That's what as players we interact with our fans too. That's part of it. And you start seeing guys with like these big neon colors and our cleats and everything. And I always love like white uniform with white cleats. I mean, I don't know, it just blends with the pants. It looks all one piece. And I'm very simple with my style. Like one person that mentioned style to me is like the classics never go out of style. And so I'm very much like, I try to be that way. And so when I look at stuff, I like to just wear very solid stuff. I'm not a big flashy guy. So I just kind of stick with the basics. But, you know, we have guys that add their own unique flair, which is awesome, because in a game where we all wear the same uniform, being able to spice it up kind of your own ways, you know, is really, really cool.
That's fun, yeah.
In your everyday life, what's your style?
I like my tan suede Chelsea boots. Those are my go-tos.
Nice.
Yeah, I rock those. I'm a big Hudson jeans guy. Shoot, I'm trying to think of all the things.
T-shirt and
Okay,
jeans.
I'm a
T-shirt.
shoe hoarder. I have a
Okay.
ton of shoes. I have a ton of shoes. Probably more than I probably should have.
It's okay, I can understand.
Yeah, so,
I like shoes too.
but you know what? I never really gotten into fashion. And then now that I've started to, you know, it's easier. Social media now gives a great outlet to be able to just see what guys wear. So, and it's able to do it kind of, you know, reasonably affordably. You know, the minor leagues, like, we didn't have a lot of money. So how can we, you know, make ourselves look like a professional, but on a budget? You know, I think of like balling on a budget, or whatever. You know, it's just
exactly.
like, yeah. So, yeah. So, you know, it's just trying to be great about, you know, what we're doing. And like I said, this big flash really wasn't my thing. So it's like I just think solid colors for me, and you know, hopefully just not try to stand out too much, I guess. I don't know.
What about accessories? Because the baseball chain's always something.
Oh,
What thought goes into the? Yeah.
See, I got a few. Yeah, I got my
So
cross. and
tell
my-
us why you picked
the
these
same.
chains.
These are two I've had for a long time, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big flashy, like, you know, I'm gonna pop these big chains out. You know, it's definitely a you know, in our like Latino culture, it's just very, you know, it's the culture is a little more flamboyant, which is, it's really cool. So I got to go to the Dominican Republic, you know, this winter. It was awesome to be able to experience that culture, because you get to see how culturally it's different. I think that's one of the great parts about America itself, is we're so culturally diverse in a way that everyone gets to bring their own unique vibe. So it's funny, you know, going through these dresses and everything, and watching people see, you know, people get to bring their own style and flare it up, and you know, and that's the best part about fashion, right? Is just being able to
Exactly.
portray yourself outwardly. You know, it's like same with tattoos. Like I have tattoos, but they all portray something different. And I think that's one of the great parts about fashion that I've started to learn. But like I said, I'm not even close to your guys'. So I'll heed to your guys' expertise on that issue.
I was gonna ask. Tell us about your tats.
Oh, I got a bunch. I got my whole back is pretty much done. And then a lot of the ones that I have, like on the insides, like this estate, I've got pretty much Jesus walking the beach going on water. The Clipper ship, just to find my way. So a lot of it, everything that I have, I've got some angel wings across on my back, and then last name, and just a bunch of stuff. But one that goes down my spine. So I mean, we'll have a bunch of different stuff, but my Achilles are done. They all have meaning to me, and they're all pretty much based around my family and faith. And those are the two things that were always been my foundation. And those are things I never felt like were going to change. So for me is just knowing, and maybe it's just the symbolism of it, but putting it on my body and saying, you know what, like these are my rocks. These are things that have grounded me, and these are things that keep me going. So it's a daily reminder of the motivation, but also a daily reminder of humbling myself, knowing that, you know, no matter where you get in life, you know, you've always come from somewhere, and keeping that in mind.
Great. All right. Let's. I see a picture we have up there now. Let's talk a
gosh.
little bit. We also like to talk adventure here. So
Ooh,
I
I
ripped
love
this
it.
one from your Twitter account, I believe.
Okay.
So, and you have to pronounce this. I know it's
I was
Idaho,
gonna
but
say.
I'm like, I
Coeur
don't know.
d'Alene.
Yeah.
Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah,
Okay.
Coeur d'Alene. Yeah, that's in Idaho. It's a beautiful, beautiful resort. They're known for a golf course there. It has a, for anyone that really likes to golf, there's a island green where they actually take you on a ferry out from on shore out to the island green. So you have to ride a little ferry boat out to the green. So you get your
cool.
tee shot, and then so it's known for that. But it's a very, very, very nice summer resort. I would highly recommend. The Mariners did us the luxury of putting us in the resort there, and it was beautiful. That was a room. That was my view from my balcony there, looking out over the lake. So we got to stay there for a few nights and visit with some of the fans near Spokane there. It's right across the border from Washington. So it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful area. I recommend anyone going there in the summer. In the summer is beautiful, but in the winter is nice. There's a little snow flurry that went over the lake, and really, really
that's
beautiful.
cool.
Nice. Are there any other spots that you've been to? Or are you an adventure person, or what kind of things do you like to do?
So I haven't really got to go on much international travel. I've seen pretty much everywhere in America, being in 7 years in the minor leagues. I played in every state, and I played in every place imaginable. I've been to Mexico, and I've gone to the Dominican Republic, so that was a really, really cool trip. And I would love to do Greece. I'd love to do Italy. I'd love to do the Mediterranean there, Turkey. I think that'd be a really fun trip to do. And I've always wanted to do Thailand and do that trip too. But you know, I think the Dominican Republic was a great lesson for me in learning how to. Not many people spoke English. I wasn't in a resort. I was in downtown Santo Domingo, so it was, I mean, I was in the city. And so learning how to have to travel and communicate and go to the grocery store and being able to communicate my way through. And I speak, you know, decent Spanish. It's very broken, but, you know, it was cool to see how their culture works and knowing that the ways that it's opened my mind. The ways that I see things sometimes are seen in a totally different light, and it was very humbling. So like I said, I recommend, you know, people just go out and be able to hopefully experience a new culture, not just in the States but abroad, and I think you can learn some great things, not only about the other cultures but kind of about yourself too. So it was a very humbling experience.
Yeah, for sure. It's great to get out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna play a quick game if
Let's
you're
do
up
it.
for it before we wrap up tonight. So we'll just alternate asking. So we're
Okay.
calling this the fastball round.
Oh, gosh.
I'm trying to peek over there.
Hope it's not Edwin Diaz's fastball. Yeah, don't throw a curveball on me here.
So
Really
we're
swinging and
just
missing.
quick questions, whichever comes to mind. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, beer or whiskey?
Whiskey.
Country music or rock?
Country.
Lakes or oceans?
Lake.
What are you afraid of?
Ooh. Spiders and snakes.
Your most annoying habit?
Ooh, biting my fingernails.
Favorite baseball stadium?
Ooh, Safeco.
Where's your happy place?
Ooh, Lake Tahoe with my grandparents.
That's it.
That's it? Oh my God.
Easy.
Oh my God, stealing it. I was like, yeah.
Oh
That's
my
funny.
gosh. That was a good game.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Good music,
you're-
Steven.
Yeah, I was going to say, keeping me on my toes right now.
Yeah.
That's
It's like,
right.
I like it. You got all 10. So I was like,
Yeah, I'm like trying to think of this. Like, I can't give the wrong answer right now.
I know. All right. Well, just to wrap up, because I think we only have about 5 minutes left, but I just want to talk about what's upcoming things for you. And I know you have a documentary you just shot, Uninterrupted. Can you tell us a little bit about the documentary?
Yeah, so there's a lot of big things coming out now, so it's awesome. I feel very, very blessed to be able to use my platform for this cause, and not just this cause, but hopefully it affects, you know, multiple causes, and, you know, just people's psychological issues in general. So Uninterrupted came up and did some filming with me, so I was strapped to the microphone for 24 hours straight pretty much, and for a few days, and I think we spent 3 or 4 days doing it, and camera crew following me around doing everything. So we're going to be having a documentary coming out here, and I'm really, really excited for it to, you know, it'll be hopefully a visual lesson. We did a lot of interviews just about my everyday life and how I go about my business and how I manage with this stuff and what we're trying to do with it, and just raise awareness for everyone and hopefully bring that positive light. So this documentary is going to be huge. I think I hope people can see it and get like I said, a visual representation of kind of what happened, and hopefully they can see it and go, you know what, I know I've been there, or I've been in that hole, or I can relate to that, and hopefully, you know, that allows them to just see it. Some people are, you know, visual learners, some people, you know, learn audibly, you know, or they maybe not learning as they experience something that way, and you're very touched by a song, or you're very touched by a movie, and I really hope that this is more of that movie route where, you know, that scene where people can go, okay, like, man, like, I know what that's like. Maybe I need some help, or maybe I can really help this person with it. And like I said, bringing that positive light.
And now this is LeBron James's platform,
Yes.
and making the documentary. And I know part of their belief is to have it be told through your eyes, through your, like, you really letting the athletes really share their story, not being manipulated by other media or something else. So what was it like for you just being able to tell it kind of on your terms?
So everything we did was on my terms, which is huge, because it's like, this is how, and I told him, to be honest with you, I said, look, when I do this, I want to do it. I don't want to look back and say, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have maybe portrayed it even more. We got as real as it gets. So when you see this documentary, you're going to be like, there can be probably some parts that are not uncomfortable, but they're going to be like, wow, dude, you're going to see an inside look on an athlete from a different perspective that you've probably never seen before. Because, like I said, it's not a glamorous thing that I went through, and there's no way that I want to portray it that way. I want to portray it as real and as heartfelt as it was, because that's what it was for me, and it was the darkest part of my life. So how can I now give that and maybe do it some justice? And that was for me to just be fully enveloped in it and you know, just portray everything I went through as clearly and as open as I could.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Where are we going to be able to find it when it's out?
So you can go on any of Uninterrupted's social media sites. They have Twitter and Instagram. They have all the social media sites, or you can go to uninterrupted.com, and they will have it all posted there. And then I'll be helping promote it, and we'll have a handful of people here that will be reaching out, and hopefully we can impact some lives for the better.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you very exciting.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you so much for coming on our show and talking with us today. It was so fun to have you.
No, thank you for having me. This was honestly the highlight of my off season here. It was so much fun. I really appreciate it.
And tell everybody once again where they can follow you on social media.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at mike.marjama or on Twitter at mmarjama. That's MMARJAMA. I'm on Snapchat too. You can find me anywhere. You can probably Google me and find somewhere to get a hold of me. I try to put myself out there. Those social media sites are fine. They'll reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to get back to you guys and like I said, just interact with the fans and give you guys an open look at my everyday life, and hopefully you guys can follow along and enjoy.
Awesome. That's great. Well, best of luck to you in the next season and with everything that you're doing. It's just wonderful.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And where can everybody follow you?
You can find me at Hanna Bee Tucker on all social media platforms.
And you can follow me here at TomGirl TV and at JJ Jurgens. Thank you guys so much for coming with us, and we'll see you again here next week. Bye.
Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.